welcome to a roundtable discussion through her lens. I'm Kasturi Manikam here in Beijing. Now, 80 years ago, the United Nations Charter affirmed the equal rights of men and women. 30 years ago, the Beijing Declaration framed women's rights as human rights. And now, 3 decades later, Beijing once again takes center stage as world leaders gather here to renew their commitment and push forward the global agenda for women's empowerment. To better understand the progress worldwide, we have 6 distinguished female journalists joining us today. Each of them will bring unique insights into women's development from their perspective and the progress yet to be made. Here in the studio, we have CGTN reporter Liu Chia-sin. Joining us online are Nikolina Rakic, editor with Radio Television of Serbia, Audrey Utoyo, news anchor with TVRI World in Indonesia, Megha Sharma, senior executive editor with NewsX World in India, Patricia Isami Luba, diplomatic correspondent for Nigerian Television Authority, and Tina Fafan, host of Record TV in Brazil. Ladies, a warm welcome to all of you. Now, before we begin our conversation, let's have a quick look at the progress made so far and the challenges that we face today.
The Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action is the most ambitious global political commitment on women's rights ever achieved.
I call to order the 12th meeting.
30 years after the landmark UN Conference on Women held in the Chinese capital, legal protections for women and girls have expanded dramatically. Nearly 1,600 laws against gender-based violence are now in place across 193 countries, up from only 12 countries back in 1995. Economically, women have seen near-universal bans on gender-based discrimination. New services have emerged to ease the burden of unpaid care work, and gender gaps have closed across education. The declaration also helped empower women in peace-building efforts. National action plans on women, peace and security have surged from just 19 in 2010 to 112 today. Despite the progress, major challenges remain. In 2023, conflicts affected over 600 million women worldwide, more than twice the number in the 1990s. Nearly 10% of women today still live in extreme poverty. Violence against women remains a global crisis, with 736 million subjected to physical or sexual violence, now intensified by digital threats.
Chia-sin, let's start with you. China is once again hosting a global leaders meeting on women to recognize the Beijing Declaration it made 30 years ago. How do you feel covering this meeting, and what message does China hope to convey?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here. Well, definitely. I mean, I'm so honored to be part of this, and covering the Global Leaders Meeting on Women feels profoundly different than any other assignment. 8 years ago, I started my career as a female journalist at CGTN in a realm that women are either at parity with men or exceed the numbers of men. So here I gained a more profound understanding of gender equality. And meanwhile, in our work, in our reporting, we have met with a lot of outstanding women from all walks of life. I personally witnessed the launch of the Shenzhou 13 female taikonaut, Wang Yaping, into space. Well, also I've spoken to these numerous women entrepreneurs, leaders, scientists, artists, whose excellence and intelligence continues to inspire me.
Ladies who are joining us online, let me bring you into the conversation. Audrey, women in Indonesia have the same rights and same opportunities as men do. But talk to us a little bit about the reality there, and what do you hope to take home from this meeting?
Thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much for that great question. Well, I believe that this meeting is incredibly pivotal, especially during this time where it is the 30th anniversary, and also will be opened by President Xi Jinping, and also giving a keynote speech. I believe that the dialogues that will be held at this moment, which will include many more improvements, especially what has been done 30 years ago. Now women are in places of tech, media, grassroots, politics, governance. And I believe that this gathering will also have a great impact on Indonesia. There are some real challenges that the summit's global reach can help highlight, such as underrepresentation of women and gender-based violence that have yet to be resolved until now. And also having this community of global women coming together to talk about these important topics is also critical during our times now. It is important to know that we have a sisterhood, we have world leaders, men and women included, who are advancing women's rights. And hopefully we can also acknowledge the capacity building that will be happening during these meetings that all of us women journalists can take home into our own home countries. And I do believe that there will also be more cross-cultural collaborations. And I hope that more authentic storytelling of women will be going on after this.
Now, Megha, India has made progress in enacting laws to protect women, but the effective implementation of these laws still remains a challenge. What do you hope to see at the meeting?
Yes, absolutely. You spoke about how there are a number of laws that have been implemented, that have been built to protect the women of our country, and we have been carrying forward this agenda, this campaign. I'm sure all of you distinguished guests who have joined me in this discussion must have heard about the 2008 gruesome rape that had taken place, the gang rape that had taken place. We have been campaigning for it. And while justice was delivered to the family members of this girl who was gang raped, we found out that there were plethora of these cases, open cases, that had still not found, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I hope that through my medium, my news channel, my media organization, I'm able to use this platform to move it in the right direction, to protect women, to save women, to be their voice, to empower them, and be the change maker in a bid to have women-led development in the truest of sense.
Patricia, what significance does this meeting hold for women in Nigeria?
Yeah, okay. It's good to have me on this program. Thank you very much. From way here in Nigeria, I'm going to look at this at maybe in two dimensions, the aspect of the Nigerian women and that of the African women, because I cover both. Now, for me, what I think that is most significant for Nigerian women is the fact that we are resilient, we are resourceful, though we face these political barriers in participation of politics, economic equity. We have a problem of access to digital opportunities. Now, this global summit for me will help to amplify our voices. It will help to allow the women within my own setting, to showcase their struggles and triumph to some parts of this international conversation. Now, looking at it again from the bigger prospect of Africa, it will also create that channel for the women within the African setting again to learn from these global counterparts that we will come in contact with while showcasing our African women, in the innovative sense of communities, especially in peace building and in in entrepreneurship.
Nicolina, what topics would you be interested to cover at this meeting?
When I think about the summit, I don't see just another conference. I see it as a global microphone for women. And I'm especially interested in how technology can open new doors for women and how we can finally achieve fair representation in leadership. And for women in Serbia, this summit is a strong signal that we could talk about our problems, issues, and how to fix it. In the past 10 years of my work as a journalist, women have often been in the center of my reporting, and I have covered many challenges that they faced with. And I want to hear about other countries and their problems and solutions, and together to find a good way to fix it and to have more women in leadership positions and in better places in the world.
And what about you, Tina? What are your expectations for this meeting?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invite. It's such a pleasure to be here. Well, an event of this size held in China is an act of global recognition that the fight for gender equality is universal. It is certainly an opportunity to connect with powerful women who are references in what they do. I believe it will be a space where many women will connect and discover the power of their own speech. Women who have the opportunity to participate in this event will be able, due to its size, to feel part of something bigger and to have a sense of belonging. I believe that the event can bring ideas that can be adapted to Brazilian reality, expanding the horizons of possibilities for women. Brazil has China as a reference in many ways. So an event like this has profound meaning for women in Brazil.
Now, Audrey, can you please share a story on women that you have covered and which has impacted you or made a difference in your country?
Yes, thank you for that question. One of the stories that really inspired me is about women in remote villages of Indonesia. So during our time working at TV Arab World, we've gotten opportunities to visit many different places of Indonesia. And our country, Gus, is blessed with 7,500 islands, around that much, many, many islands. Yet we might not have heard a lot of stories about these women in these remote villages, because some of the stories might just be central to specific areas of Indonesia or the capital. Well, upon witnessing the lives of these women, I got to go to places such as Papua, Labuan Bajo, as well as Toraja, all very vast and very spread out islands of Indonesia. I was very amazed to find the strong women communities there. Women, although they are usually in the background, they're actually the glue that holds the villages together. And I would say they're even as so far as being the soul and the heart of the community. For example, when I went to Papua, I saw this traditional hand-woven knitted bag called noken. And so noken is made from these fibers, bamboo fibers of a tree only found in Papua. And I witnessed from the beginning the women making them just from like little strands, tree strands, and then them weaving it together, washing it in the river, and then making a very beautifully woven bag. And so though that might seem like a little thing, I saw how they're able to empower their communities through being involved in entrepreneurship and still maintaining their identity and culture. And I think that is something that is incredible of how these women can just maintain authenticity in being themselves, yet still bringing empowerment to them and their communities, furthering their livelihoods into the future. And this thing is also passed beyond generations to generations to generations. And I just think, wow, if this is how a community lives in a remote village in Indonesia, what about other places in Indonesia that are yet to be discovered and yet to be explored? And so Gus, as a city girl myself, I think that was very insightful and eye-opening for me to finally realize that women's stories are diverse, different, but they don't mean like one is better than the other, but they're just different, but as valuable as the other.
That's a fantastic story, Audrey. Now, Patricia, is there a story that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I actually have good stories. But one of them is that aspect where I went to, I would say, my village in Adamawa State. And in terms of trying to understand the women, how they live, how they get to keep the family going, I found out that this woman organize themselves. They have cooperatives, that supports them. They find time to maybe own some piece of land, just the little they can. And with the little money they have, they go all the way to tell each other, okay, let's join hands and buy a particular kind of grain or buy a particular kind of seedlings, which is still local, and they plant them, they do all these things together. Before you know it, this same business of planting crops, making little farms behind their homes, helps them to maybe sell within the market, and we have markets that come up on maybe weekdays, just a day in a week. You can imagine 7 days in a week. Just once you get to bring your foodstuff, whatever you've been able to harvest from your farm, and then you sell them. This same money these women use to keep the home front. They have husbands. Some of them are widows. War have taken a lot of men away from them. So we have a woman with maybe 5, 6 children. You can imagine how she would take care of such a family. But this small entrepreneurship they find themselves doing help them to keep the home front. And at the end of the day, the children are well taken care of. These children are being forced by the parents, again, the mother most especially, to go to maybe some government-owned schools, get the knowledge, and they come back much later in life to support the mothers. Now, but me personally, I'll talk about myself. I actually found myself being underestimated. In the male-dominating space, I work in a place where virtually you can say there are 20 men, but only 2, 3 women you find in it. But at the same time, I try to focus on my preparation. I put my head high up. I don't get myself below the waters. Credibility, excellence in it, and my integrity. I try as much as possible not to be like humiliated by the fact that somebody will say, you are a woman, you're supposed to be back in the house, take care of the children, look this and that. And our culture, our religion, our beliefs have made a lot of us to feel we cannot come into the men-dominating space. So I do that by putting all these things behind my back, and the experience helped me to shape myself in ensuring that I stand in for the women's rights. I stand in to talk about this wherever I find myself. So I would say the summit for me, where 30 years ago, Beijing had done it. And Beijing, I was in China when President Xi talked about he's going to host women worldwide in Beijing around this time for the anniversary, 30 years anniversary. I was excited. I sent the report back home, and it was virtuously used in almost all the platforms in Nigerian Television Authority. So I feel the summit will open up another door for women to gather, share opportunities, share understanding, share things that we do have inside of us, but all we need is the space to kind of play our own role. And the society will be better for it, I tell you.
So, Mega, have you faced challenges as a female journalist on a personal note? And if so, how did you overcome them? And how has this influenced your professional path and perspectives?
I lead a team of about 150 people. And when I started my career, I saw I think percentage-wise, there were lesser number of women in ratio as compared to men. And this is something that I have tried to rectify. There were a number of times instances were given when you spoke to HR, when you spoke to management, and the one excuse that would come up is, talking about security issues, safety issues. There are times because when women get married, perhaps they don't take their job seriously, or when they are married and they go on maternity leaves, and that causes a hindrance in the work cycle. So these were issues that I dealt with in the past. But talking about now that the team that I lead, there are more number of women than men. So and that has not been, this has happened organically. This is not as if I was pushing for having only women employees to be recruited into the organization, into my team. It has happened organically, and I'm happy that the management and HR has supported me in my decisions to hire women employees.
Now, Nicolina, do you have a story on women that you would like to share with us?
I chose to talk about women journalists in my country, and I have some data that they are worrying numbers. Every third woman in the media has experienced sexual harassment. 1 in 4 has felt discriminated against because of her appearance, and 1 in 3 has faced with age discrimination. More than 40% journalists, women journalists, say they had to sacrifice their private life because of journalism. And that's the picture of our job in my country. We don't have support that we need. We don't have work time. We need to share that with partners, but there are not a lot of understanding between men and women work. And that there's some kind of problems in my profession, and I think that our government have done a lot for women in the last few years, and we have now fund that helps moms, divorced moms, and we have some support from society, and but that's not a lot. That's not enough, and I think that is the main topic maybe in next few years, and I'm interested to see how maybe technology and AI can help us to have more time, to have more free time for our kids and our family. And I want to maybe hear about that in other countries, what their opinion about that.
Tina, let's come to you. How do you see the current situation of Brazilian women? Which area or field would you personally like to see opportunities for women?
Well, Brazil has a lot of challenges women need to face. Talking about journalism, I'd like to say that women journalism in Brazil have their space. It's a good space. But the main challenge for women in Brazil today is reaching and keeping the management, the leadership positions, the power positions. But in Brazil, we have a lot of challenges like salary inequality, low representation in leadership and political positions, gender-based violence. So there are a lot of challenges Brazil have, and a lot to discuss too in the summit. We have a lot to discuss and to bring the Brazil's reality to the summit.
And Shasin, China has made a lot of progress in advancing women's rights. Talk to us about the journey made so far.
But looking back now, I live a fantastic life over the past 30 years, and that life was paved by the very changes that conference set in motion. So, for example, the push for educational equality means that as a girl, I never had to doubt my right to sit in a classroom, and I benefited from a system that was closing gender gap from kindergarten all the way through to university, where women now make up over like half of the student body, and that meant everything for me. Women were lifted out of poverty in China, and the massive expansion in social security coverage. So these are not just numbers for us. These represent the larger environment of opportunity for a girl like me to aspire to a global stage like this.
And that's my last question to all of you ladies. What is one message you would like to say to the next generation of women, and how would you encourage them to break the barriers and pursue their dreams? Nicolina, would you like to start first?
Yes, there is one sentence that I often say to me and my friends, and that can be in this form. Your voice deserves to be heard in every room, in politics, in business, in newsroom, or a family table. And I insist on that, and I think that every girl needs to know that.
Patricia, what about you?
I would like to leave this very message for the young girls, for the fact that they should pursue education. They should embrace technology that has come to be part of us in the 21st century. they should also seek mentorship, because when they have these tools, it gives them the confidence, the leverage, and they shouldn't be afraid of challenges. They should see them as a stepping stones for growth.
Megha, what is one message you would like to say to the next generation of women?
I think the girls, the women need to just not shy away from demanding for what they want, what they desire. And if you're strong enough, yes, I think you'll have to work doubly hard as men do. I think that is changing over the course of the years, and it will take some more time. But you may have to work much harder than the men in the society, the men that you work with in your environment. But putting in the hard work and not letting go, not quitting is a message that I would like to send out to the women folk, to girls, to young girls.
Tina.
Well, I would say don't give up fighting for your space, for a more just and equal society. Don't give up at the first no you receive. Study, insist, and persist. And no one can do more for you than yourself. So empower also comes from the network that supports you. So lean on women who think like this and support other women too, so they can grow with you. Women need to unite to fight for a more equal world. So together we are stronger.
Audrey?
Well, I would say as a closing message, women, the world needs you. We need your courage, we need your spirit, we need your authenticity. Women just have this feminine genius that no one else can replicate. And so I believe that, as everyone has said, by bringing and being more of yourself, by being more authentic in who you are, you're actually going to contribute so much good into this world. And also to have courage. Sometimes the things that you avoid doing are the biggest doors to opportunities that you've always wanted in your life.
What about you, Chasin?
Do not just find a seat in the table, but create a better, more inclusive, and more compassionate table for everyone. That's my message. And go for it, girls. You got this.
Now, the stories we have heard from these women acknowledge the progress that's been made and the work that still needs to be done. Empowering women isn't just a goal, it's a fundamental prerequisite for global equality, development, and peace. As we wrap up today's conversation, we leave you with powerful words from women who have inspired generations. Their voices echo across time, reminding us of the power of women's strength, resilience, and unity. On that note, I'm Kasturi Manikam. Thanks for watching.
Not only do we need more investment in science, we need a more inclusive science, and we need more women participation in science.
If you want to get something, you have to fight for it. You must show your ability. You must work hard. Keep your working position.
I would say go for it. Build your skill. Go to school. Bring everything, put everything in your baskets so that when the opportunity comes, then you might be ready to at least apply when called.
教育是最公平的，也是最有力量的一把梯子。我想，我哪天没有了，这个女高应该更办下去，办得应该更好才行。More women who are out there doing this, the more society will see what women can do. Women will see what women can do, and we'll all be better.